Tonight on Joy News Prime, majority in Parliament launch attack on Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin, saying he's doing the bidding of the opposition NDC.
The whole caucus of NDC, they voted for him. His spirit, his blood, his everything is still NDC. There's no doubt about that. You can't blame him.
So all that is playing out, is it to satisfy what the Speaker indicated at the very beginning of the presentation of the budget? That this budget, to make sure the budget was rejected? Is that the case?
Attorney General sues former Deputy Finance Minister Dr. Kesila Toforthing and two others for woefully causing financial loss to the state. The case counts now at 3,165 after 321 new cases were added today. Meanwhile, 4 more dead, taking COVID-19 deaths to 1,269. And in business, Celtel granted full authorization by National Communication Authority as an internet and public data service provider. How will that impact the Ghana Smart City project? We'll hear from Executive Chairman of Celtel Networks, Dr. Prince Kofi Klojeson.
Support that ANC has given to us, most of the, like Cisco, this project has been led by Cisco Technologies, the world's largest technology company in the world. Facebook, leading the news, who are providing the cloud and the satellites.
My name is Aisha Ibrahim. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our studios in Kokomlemle. We're on DTT because we're free to air on Go TV channel 144 and DSTV channel 421. And would also in this bulletin take you to Ghana's largest goat market, from where that meat you are having for Christmas may be coming from.
We like goat and sheep. They are good business. The animal are this. If you see somebody disturb animal chef, you pay me.
We are your home of independent, fearless, and credible journalism. Do stay for details. Many thanks for choosing us. Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin is tonight the subject of an onslaught by the NPP majority side in Parliament, led by the majority leader and Minister for Parliamentary Affairs himself, Oseche Mensah Bonsu. The majority leader has been suggesting that the Speaker may have been responsible for the chaos in Parliament and conspired to have the budget rejected because the Finance Minister did not meet his demands. Mr. Mensah Bonsu claims Mr. Bagbin held up budget talks for hours on the day the budget was read because he wanted 1.7 billion cedis from government revenue allocated to Parliament. Listen.
20th December 2021, and the time is 11:17 a.m. Good morning, Mr. Speaker. Trust you are well today. The Finance Committee has programmed to sit on the e-levy at 12 noon. Their report cannot be ready before 2 o'clock p.m. In the event, I propose that the House sits at 2 o'clock p.m. I and the Honorable Minority Leader shall see you at 1 p.m. in your office before sitting. Mr. Speaker.
So that was the first communication. So when the meeting spanned beyond 3, then I sent another communication. Because I called him, he couldn't pick. And then I sent another communication.
That's 15:46 p.m. That's 3:46 p.m. The second message.
Please read.
Mr. Speaker, the Finance Committee just finished, and therefore it means we can only sit at 5 p.m. as they are now going to write and print their reports. Want to have a bite of something and come to see you at about 4:30 p.m. Thank you.
So that was it. And the Speaker apparently read these messages because they ticked twice.
Oseche Mensah Bonsu also dismissed suggestions by the minority side that the procedure for the House to consider the e-levy under a certificate of urgency was breached.
That he doesn't want to remind him of what his own father did to President Hilary Liman. That was the Speaker. So all that is playing out, Is it to satisfy what the Speaker indicated at the very beginning of the presentation of the budget, that this budget, you make sure the budget was rejected? Is that the case? The people of this country ought to know the mindset of this Speaker with respect to his budget. So all this playing out, really, and that is why he sits and elects to leave the chamber to create problems. Distinguished colleagues, I told you that some clergymen, the cream of Christendom in the country, have met me. I'm not going to speak for any long time, but the people of this country should know what is leading all of us into this crisis. 1.72 billion for what? He says that he has information that the total revenue of this country was going to be 89 billion, and that the finance minister should give him 2% of it, and that works to 1.72 billion. If he doesn't give Parliament 1.72 billion, then his budget is going to be thrown out. So he's going to make sure that the budget was rejected. Is that where we are going as a country? Is that where we are going as a country? I'm hoping that this period that we have between now and the 18th of January, we'll be able to get to the bottom of this and rally together as one people in one country with a common destiny, and not submit to the whims and caprices of just one individual. This nation.
MP for Adansia Soka Katie Hammond is also blaming the leadership of the opposition NDC for the criminal scenes witnessed in the chamber since the beginning of the 8th Parliament. Katie Hammond claims the NDC MPs had already served notice they will oppose the e-levy bill at every twist and turn. That's not all. He also alleges that the consistent presence of the General Secretary of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, in the chamber during a crucial decision in Parliament spurs on the minority to misbehave. Parliament, since the inception of the 8th Parliament, has been involved in a series of disturbances and chaos, which has widely been condemned by the citizenry. The former Deputy Energy Minister, who is incensed over the conduct of the minority, alleges former President Mahama may have been involved in asking the NDC MPs to fight the e-levy.
We agreed that appropriation bill will pass. And then their view was that, well, appropriation having been passed, we would not help you to pass the e-levy. As far as they are concerned, it comes from top beyond the members of Parliament, even the leadership of Parliament. It all goes beyond them. They've got constituency, and their constituency is not their simple individual constituencies. They got the bigger executive constituency. So there wasn't much they could do by way of that.
So do I get understanding that, I mean, the NDC as a party were the ones who actually forced them?
Yes, if you didn't, come on, I'm surprised that at your level you don't know that this is the level.
These are MPs who have independent.
Listen, don't play the ostrich game over here. I mean, they got separate thoughts. You think we don't also have our MPP doesn't have our?
For you to allege that they are being controlled by the party.
It's not an allegation. I said, don't catch the General Secretary is always here. What do you think he's doing here? Is he a chimney sweeper? He cleans up there for us. You think that's what he does there? I said, don't catch is always General Secretary over the NDC. He's here. It's an open secret. If you don't know, I'm telling you, they are bigger constituency. It's more interested in this matter than you imagine. And so, as far as they are concerned, this is a matter that assumed the dimension that I have described. It's not limited within their circles and leadership as the individual. You think independent. We are independent. When it comes to a party, listen, we are here on the ticket of a particular party. They are here on the party called NDC. We are here on one called MPP. If you play the game, I'm independent and I'm this and this, and you're not part of a family. There's a family, you can understand them. They're saying that, well, this is what the family are saying. Family says that we are against this one. So do your numbers. Well, that's fine. I mean, their bigger constituency out there is telling them that they shouldn't help us. They shouldn't agree with government.
So we should blame their bigger constituency for what?
I mean, indeed. If you ask me that, I'm prepared to go on record that those are the people, or that constituency is the group to be blamed. The good people of Ghana.
John Mahama involved.
If we have to mention the former president, why not? I don't know who constituted the bigger group, but I do know. I don't know whether John Mahama should be mentioned, because as far as I'm concerned, if you are no longer the president, you are not. He doesn't hold any position.
He's very influential. He is preparing to lead the party.
That's fine. I don't.
And even the caucus are backing him to lead.
I do not know about that. But as I say, if it's the fact that he is at the center of it, then of course he should take a.
Is there a suspicion that he could play a part?
My position is that constituency, that big constituency, definitely Ezedu Nkatia, definitely Ofosu Ampofo, because he's the chairman. Ezedu Nkatia is the general secretary, and of course the leadership. Indeed, I'm even prepared. I was going to include the elders, but I'm not sure the role the Council of Elders are playing in the, But at least I am clear in my mind about the leadership, and to this extent, if John is playing any role, I'm happy to include.
Katie Hammond also alleged that the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, is not living up to expectations due to his affiliation with the opposition NDC. This, he believes, is making it difficult for the Speaker to walk the fine line without courting the displeasure of his party supporters.
He was complaining the last time about being number 2, number 3. Now I hear he's number 2. But, the status of number 2, he should imagine the status be commensurate with presence in the House. If for some unavoidable reasons, a matter of health or any other reason, he is not there, it's understandable. On this occasion, we don't know what happened, but you force me. I'm going to behave once like my friend Kennedy Japan. He says things like, "No, I won't talk about it." Before he's talking about it. I am not him, so I won't talk about it. But he isn't. He wasn't there. We hope that when we come on the thing.
Has he lived up to expectation as a speaker?
It's been difficult. It's been difficult. You see, let's again be realistic. Alban Bagbin was always NDC. I don't think he was ever going to change to be MPP. It's not possible. I mean, the leopard and the skin and those things, you know how it is. So Alban Bagbin was always the NDC. He was running for their, their presidency. I mean, all of a sudden, and we didn't vote for him. We MPP didn't vote for him. So, of course, whatever happened, he won it. So the whole caucus of NDC, they voted for him. His spirit, his blood, his everything is still NDC. There's no doubt about that. You can't blame him. You think you voted me as the Speaker of Parliament, I'm certainly NDC. Let's be realistic politically. I mean, so he's sitting there. Yes, having been appointed or elected or whatever the Speaker is supposed to be a referee, a neutral referee. Is it possible? That's the difficulty he has. And Ezedu Nkatia comes to his office. What does he come there to do? But who stops and says, you can't put handcuff around Ezedu Nkatia's legs and hands, even though General Mosquito, if I could, if I could, I would wrap him up in whatever and throw him away. But you can't. He goes in there.
So he's not being the kind of speaker you expect.
It's a difficult. No, again, you are wrong. Having been voted as Speaker, certainly as MPP, he is going to. Yeah. We'd expected that he would here and there try, and then nobody one day thought that he suddenly was going to sit down and start clapping for MPP. Yes, you guys, what's your number? Come on, move on. This.
And joining me for a response on this is Deputy Minority Leader James Kluche-Aveji. He joins us via phone. For more, Mr. Kluche-Aveji, thank you so much for your time this evening. How do you respond to accusations that the Speaker of Parliament, because he belongs to the NDC, he is unable to be objective and fair, and also the accusation that he's been asking for some money from the Finance Minister?
Thank you very much. Good evening to your listeners. First of all, the failure of the majority leader and the NPP to pass the e-levy should not be blamed on anybody, let alone the Speaker of Parliament. It is clear that on the 17th of December, when the House approved the appropriation bill, we all agreed that the e-levy will be handled on Monday, the 20th of December. And that was the only business that we agreed to do on Monday, 20th December. It is because of that that on that Friday, 17th, no business statement was presented by the business company because we were scheduled to rise on that 17th. But for the fact that we must finish the e-levy, we agreed that then let's meet Monday, let's speak on Monday and do the e-levy. And the time for sitting Monday was scheduled to be 10 a.m. Now, on Monday, 10 a.m., when we all came to Parliament, we got the information from the majority side that the sitting is now going to be 2 p.m. Even that, the House ended up to be around 4 p.m. Now, what is the cause of the delay? According to them, the Finance Committee report on the delay. But it will interest you to know that on Saturday, the 18th of December, the Finance Committee met at Hope Plaza Hotel to consider other business. They did not consider the e-levy. The question is, if e-levy was the only business we were going to do on Monday, why did the Finance Committee consider the e-levy bill on Saturday when they met at Hope Plaza? So it was a rationale by the majority side to delay all processes. That is why even on a Saturday, the business that the table before the Finance Committee.
All right, so that was Kluche Aveji. He's the Deputy Minority Leader. We'll try and raise him again. There is a bad connection with the phone line. We'll try and get him so he can make that point. But he's been responding to accusations by the Majority Leader, Seche Mensah Bonsu, that the Speaker of Parliament had demanded some money from the Finance Minister, and also accusations by former Energy Minister Katie Hammond. Thankfully, Mr. Kluche Aveji is back on the line. Mr. Aveji, make your point.
Yes. So on Monday, that the House was supposed to start sitting at 10. That was the time the Finance Committee went into the meeting to consider the e-levy bill. Eventually, when the House started sitting at around 4 p.m., we expected the Majority Leader, who is the leader of government business, who knew that the only business on Monday was e-levy, was supposed to bring the e-levy report. But they ended up bringing other business. The Speaker was seated to the chair, and when he inquired from the Majority Leader, they would say, let's do this loan agreement, let's do it. Why? Because the Finance Committee report, the e-levy, wasn't ready. So all this will continue until all other businesses that they plan to do, purposely to delay the process, we have finished those businesses. So we have to agenda. So the House was adjourned, hoping that the Finance Committee report, the e-levy will come, so that Mr. Speaker will come back. It's also interesting to know that this process was also delayed again, simply because they did not have the numbers of MPs from their side who will come and vote on e-levy, because they have indicated to them as a minority that we will vote against it.
But
it is surprising to know that it was 8 p.m. on Monday. That was the time Ajahn Safo arrived in Parliament. It was after Ajahn Safo arrived in Parliament before they want to table the e-levy. So it was a grand.
all right, we lost Kluche Aveji there, but he's simply making the point that it's a majority that actually shot themselves in the foot by delaying, deliberately delaying the procedures of the House, and also making the point that the Speaker had waited to take the e-levy report, but because of the delays, he had to leave because of ill health. We'll try and get him. If we do, he would make the point, but I think he's actually made the first point. We can move on to other stories. Ghana's COVID-19 case count is going up again. The Ghana Medical Association is concerned and is urging all to ensure strict adherence to all safety protocols. Before delving into the association's concerns, let's take a look at the figures as with regards to our current case counts. And just there you have it on the dashboard. New cases 321, active cases 3,165, confirmed cases 134,555, recoveries now 129,921, and deaths now at 1,269. And you see in there those red inks in the map. They represent the regional distribution, and you can see Greater Accra, which is at par with Ashanti region. Initially, Greater Accra was leading and Ashanti region following closely. Right now, we're told Ashanti region is leading with the highest number of cases. Right, so Ashanti region is also coming up strongly. We can now bring you details of the Ghana Medical Association's concern. President of the GMA, Dr. Frank Srebot, revealed that some of his colleague doctors are getting infected with the new variant. He warns that the threat of infection is so real, Ghanaians must not let down their guards.
We are having a lot of cases in the hospitals at the moment. We have some of our doctors who are testing positive. A lot of the nurses are testing positive. Indeed, there are some wards in some hospitals that are basically now being run by other people from other wards, meaning that all the people in those wards have tested positive and they are supposed to go home. As I speak to you, I am in a very small facility, but I can tell you that 3 of my doctors, we are only 7 doctors, 3 of us have already tested positive. And it's not like they are just asymptomatic, they are symptomatic, and so I have to let them go home.
Are you yourself, does it include you?
Unfortunately, I have not tested because I have not had any symptoms, but they had symptoms as of yesterday.
Okay.
And so we did a test, and as of now, 3 of them are supposed to go home, and they are home, meaning that out of the 7, we have only 4 doctors available to do the work of the 7 people for probably the next 1 week or 2 weeks. And until recently, even our COVID center had been virtually empty. We are beginning to see cases. So the situation in the hospital is not that good. Our colleagues in the testing sites are reporting that now when samples come in, you can predict that about 60 to 80% of the samples will test positive. And so clearly, the situation is not.
He also called for the arrest and prosecution of persons who would flout the protocols during the festive season.
There is no better monitoring mechanisms by being able to educate people, let them understand the implications of what they will be doing and the benefits that they will get if they adhere to all the protocols. However, in cases where it is so obvious that they are breaking the protocols, I think in the past the security agencies have done a very good job by making sure that at least those who lead the organization of such programs are arrested and prosecuted. And we believe that similar things should be done at this moment. The situation in the hospital is not that good. Our colleagues in the testing sites are reporting that now when samples come in, you can predict that about 60 to 80% of the samples will test positive. And so clearly, the situation is not helping. Less than 2 weeks ago, we had less than 1,000 active cases in Ghana. And as of this evening that we are talking, we have more than 3,000 cases in Ghana at the moment. And I'm sure by tomorrow, we will probably have more cases being reported as active cases. And so the situation is not too good. I think it's quite scary.
And still to come in business, Celtel, as Ghana marches towards a full digitalization, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, Celtel Network Limited, has been granted full authorization. Details shortly in business.
You're welcome to Business. I'm Charles Aite. As government marches towards a full digital economy, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, Celtel Networks Limited, has been granted full authorization by the National Communications Authority as an internet and public data service provider in Ghana to give a big push to the country's digital economy agenda. Now, the authorization clears the way for Celtel to roll out its much-touted and long-awaited Ghana Smart City project. Here's Executive Chairman of Celtel Networks and one of the pioneers of Ghana's tech industry, Dr. Prince Kofi Klugeson.
If you look at many countries today, they are focusing a lot on digitalization or what we call application and e-commerce. You know, if you look at agriculture today, it's all about smart agriculture. So it's part of our focus. You know, but the problem is that if you look at about the NCA report, most of the devices are all what we call YAM phones, analog phones. We need to be able to address that. That's hence the major factory, who is the biggest in Africa today, and then we are also licensed as an OEM to be the major, you know, producer and manufacturer of smart devices in Africa today. My happiness is that for the support that NC has given to us, most of the, you know, like Cisco, this project is being led by Cisco Technologies, the world's largest technology company in the world. Facebook, you know, leading use, you know, who are providing the cloud and the satellites. And we are working with you know, the largest producer of devices like iPhones, who are also a partner in being able to produce the, you know, the smartphones in Ghana. So and the factory is not only for Ghana, it's also for the whole of Africa. And this project also is a Smart Africa project.
Now, a decline in soil fertility has been identified across the country as a factor contributing significantly to low yields of crops. The Soil Research Institute of the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research is introducing appropriate soil fertility and water management technologies to improve agri sustainability in Ghana. We have more in this report.
Maize accounts for more than 50% of the country's total cereal production. Maize production of Ghana improved from 384 tons in 1971 to 3,000 tons in 2020. This average annual growth rate represents 8.79%. Despite these efforts, the average maize yield in Ghana remains one of the lowest in the world, much lower than the average for Africa, south of the Sahara. To increase maize yield in Jampokrom near Sefirioso municipality of the Western North region, the Soil Research Institute has carried out a demonstration to showcase some of its soil fertility management strategies in the region. The new technologies, biochar, organic fertilizer, and mineral fertilizer will address the rapid decline of levels of soil fertility. The technologies also improve yields and make farming profitable. Dr. Imano Dugan is a research scientist and the focal person for the MARC program.
You know, soil fertility is declining. We continue to farm, we harvest our crops, we don't do anything to the soil, so nutrient mining occurs, and then fertility status of the soil is decreasing. That is why we are rolling out this technology so that we can, you know, amend or improve the soil fertility status and support the yield of maize to support our farmers. So that is what we are doing here.
He explained the use of compost, and these new technologies will amend soil losses and improve yields for farmers. Assistant Agricultural Director for Seshirioso, Ebenezer Kwano, who represented the Municipal Chief Executive, explained the program was born out of government's commitment to boost agricultural sector and tackle unemployment.
I'm sure this particular activity we are having here today will feed into the broader vision of the government to ensure food sustainability and then also increase productivity in agriculture sector to feed the populace and also export some to neighboring countries.
The paramount chief of Jampokrom, Nana Yaokumi, encouraged farmers to adopt these new technologies.
This initiative will help us. If we listen and adopt these technologies, it will be to our advantage.
A beneficiary farmer, Kojo Tewia, says these new technologies will reduce cost of farming with fertilizer and afford farmers the chance to improve farming methods to increase yields.
Obedo oduawie na wade emongura guso ye be ya asase ni monwo na ba bi so ho a ye de sebe emo agya nan ese no so ye organic.
At the beginning of the farming, we spread the rice leaves on it to keep the soil moist. We also use animal remains, the organic fert. It is also helpful.
Clinton Yaboa's report read to you.
Expert is calling on government to prioritize biomonitoring and remediation assessment to ensure efficient management of electronic waste. According to Dr. Vincent Natitre, the improper disposal of e-waste contaminates the soil and has a long-term effect on Ghana's agri-industry. Speaking to Joy Business, he revealed that Agbogbloshie is an area highly prone to cancer due to the proximity of urban farms to e-waste dumping sites.
The Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, in partnership with the Environment Protection Agency and GOPA Infra, an independent international consultancy, is implementing a project themed recycling and disposal of waste of electrical and electronic equipment in an environmentally sound way. As part of educating the public, a presentation was done by Dr. Vincent Natitre at the Department of Agricultural Economics and Agribusiness, University of Ghana.
Over the years, we have been an importer and net importer of most of our electronic products. As I mentioned, about 10% to 20% of our materials that we import in already arrive as waste. And there is a need to find ways that we can environmentally handle the waste that comes out of it, because this waste that we are talking about contains some value and contains some hazard. We've seen the issues with Agbogbloshie. Now we've moved the people from Agbogbloshie, but we are also looking for that we don't repeat what happened in Agbogbloshie at other areas that the scrap dealers will find themselves. Where these activities happen are same areas where we have a lot of urban agriculture also taking place. The release of this pollution will always find a place to settle. If it doesn't settle on our skin, it will settle on our food. Waste has become much more of a resource than a trash. So we should look at waste in these terms and look at the impact on this than just finding a place to dump our trash.
Meanwhile, Assistant Programs Officer at Environment Protection Agency, Felix Moti, disclosed that there are plans underway to formalize scrap dealing.
Currently, the eco levy, the recycling fee, is being collected at the ports, and the fund manager has been appointed to do the disbursement of the fund. And from the presentation, the project is supposed to pilot the act, the national framework. So currently, when the project gets to its end of life, the national system will take it up and upscale it in the whole country. And we've done a number of sensitization with the scrap dealers, the informal sector as an agency. And currently we are working with our development partners to also see how we can formalize the sector.
Ghana imports about 150,000 tons of e-waste annually from North America and Europe.
That'll be all for business. We have sports coming up. Please stay with us.
Time now for sports. President of the Ghana Football Association, Keto Kriku, has promised to chase match fixers out of their hiding place. His comments come in the wake of an alleged match fixing scandal which rocked the Ghana Premier League on the last day of the last season. Inter Allies defender Hashmin Musa scored 2 deliberate own goals in their game against Ashanti Gold in Obuasi, alleging that he had heard there was a bet placed on that fixture even before the commencement of the game. Keto Kriku reveals the GFA is collaborating with the CID to ensure perpetrators are brought to book.
The integrity officer, working closely with the prosecutors, have leveled charges against some of the people who are involved, and they are currently going through the motions at the disciplinary committee level. All the players who were named in that instant case appeared before the committee last Monday. All the officials that were involved would also appear next Friday. So you can see clearly, says about somebody shielding or protecting anybody. The process is ongoing, and it's important. The fact say process air possible doesn't mean say Ghana football must come to a standstill. No, because you don't know when the educating process will end. That's why it's important to say the programs no ever possible. In the other developed countries, in other jurisdictions, Omega case is same, but they don't stop their football. and say, yeah, train, say, better take 3 years, or say 4 years, or 5 years. So, as a case, we are saying about football. No. This is not how brands are built. This is not how brands are built. Cases will always go independent of the brands. And it's our firm commitment to weed the corporates out of their hiding places.
Joshua Wahab says he's ready to do a battle at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel on Christmas Day. The world title hopeful defends his WBO Africa Junior lightweight title against Tanzania's Jackson Malayenge. Wahab is confident he can retain the title.
I respect every boxer. There's no boxer that puts in front of me that under it. He's a very good boxer. I watch a couple of his fights on YouTube, and I can see he's a very sharp guy. So we've worked on him, me and my team. The work is done already. My fitness level is 100%. Even I can say maybe 120% because I don't wait for them to give me fight before I start prepare. I always get myself always ready 100%. So me doing this thing today just like I'm just doing training. I'm ready. If they say the fight is tomorrow, I'm ready. Oh, of course, because everybody knows me. I've been working hard for these years. And being former WBA Pan-African title, I'm champion, and right now WBO African champion. I'm looking forward to defend the title. There's no way I can give all my fans the Christmas gift than to just deliver the victory. See, every boxer dreams to become a world champion, and that's why I've been working hard all these years. But you see, everybody want to become a world champion, but if you don't put the work, you can't become a world champion. Me, I don't wait for opportunity. I always work hard. I believe the hard work will speak for himself. I've been working hard, even when no one is watching. I always do my work as a disciplined boxer. So I believe, inshallah, by next year, before ending of 2022, I'm going to become a world champion, inshallah.
That'll be it for Joy News Prime. We've had to end a bit earlier today because we're crossing over to the Labadi Beach Hotel for our 9 lessons and carol service.